Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's episode of the Hopecast. I wanted to give you a content warning that today's episode may contain adult themes that would be inappropriate for young audiences. If you have young listeners with you, go ahead and push pause and come back when you have headphones or you're by yourself.
Hello and welcome to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. Rachael is a speaker, inspirational author, and an overcomer. As Rachael is walking through her own journey of grief, she's challenging others to persevere and overcome their own circumstances. Find out more at rachelflick.com. Here now is your host, Rachael Flick.
Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Angela Alexander here at NRB in Dallas, Texas. On our last episode, we had an incredible conversation about the loss of her 2 8-year-old sons in a tragic car accident. Angela is an author, speaker, veteran of the U.S. Air Force, and a spokesperson for New Hope Grief Support Community. While deployed in Japan, Angela received word that her family had been involved in a fatal car crash. Her husband and 2 daughters survived, but Angela's 2 8-year-old sons died instantly at the scene. Through her international speaking platform and her book, Miracles in Action, Angela now shares a powerful message of hope. God's comfort empowered Angela to transform her loss into a ministry that inspires others to see that God is still good, no matter what they are facing. Angela, welcome back to the Hopecast.
Thank you for having me, Rachel. I appreciate it.
It has been an absolute pleasure. We have just had some serious allergy problems here in this interview. There is
got
not
some onions in here.
a
My
dry eye anywhere. This is your story is so compelling and just. I relate to it a lot as a survivor, and I know that other people listening are connecting in their stories. And you were telling us about the Lord asked you to speak about this story, and you kind of resisted him for a while, which, we all know what happens when you tell God no. And he's a gentleman, but he's also very persistent.
Oh, yes. He was unwavering. For months, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I was uncomfortable.
Which is also a part of grief.
It's part of grief.
Right? I didn't sleep or eat for a good year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And God gave me this vision of me speaking to thousands. And he actually gave me a vision of this testimony becoming a movie. And so, we're praying that come to fruition. But it was so hard. I would see my son's friends walk down the street. And every time I see them, I would go in the house because I couldn't even bring myself to say hello because that lump that's forming in my throat right now would just get there and I couldn't even say their names. And just watching them grow up. Yeah. And as they're going through, elementary school and the high school and dating, my son will be right there. Yeah. And not only do you lose your children, but you lose that whole branch.
Girl, you lose your future.
If my sons were alive right now, I would be a grandma.
Yeah.
I know that. I would have grandchildren. I would have daughter-in-laws. I would have all that, and all that is gone.
Is lost.
It's lost.
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time. I say, wow, I wonder what because my son Maurice, he loved the unity of family. One time he told me, he says, Mom, I'm not going to never leave. I said, well, what about when you get married? He said, we're going to live right here.
We'll just build onto the back of the house, Mom. It's not a problem.
Yeah, he loved family. He loved marriage, so I miss all that. And I was looking forward to all of it, too. And so every time I tell my girls...
Yes.
And they said, no, Ma, we just wait. You're not going to be a grandma, not this time.
Not yet.
Not yet. But
how did your husband and daughters, how was your family in the aftermath of the loss of the boys?
Well, my husband, prior to this car crash, he had a brain aneurysm.
Okay.
And
before it happened.
Yeah, well, closely after we met, he received orders to Germany, and the second year of our marriage, at 24 years old, he woke up one morning, couldn't talk. Blood vessel erupted in his brain. Immediately, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, he couldn't talk, didn't know the alphabet. And the doctor told me, listen, your husband has an aneurysm, And it's the worst aneurysm I've seen in my whole military career. We don't have the people, the technology to handle this in Germany. It was December 3rd. He said, you'll probably be a widow by Christmas. And I was like, oh, no. And at that time, that was my back to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
I said, God, if you save my husband, I will praise your name forever. God saved my husband. They evacuated us from Germany, sent him to Wall Street Hospital in D.C., where he had an 18-hour brain surgery.
18 hours. Oh, my goodness.
And then he had to stay in the hospital for 8 long months. He had to learn how to read, write, and talk all over again. And then after that, they retired him and gave him to me. So he still had a speech deficit after that. And so now he might say, this is my husband, Angela, but that's okay. That's okay.
You've learned to laugh about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can either laugh or cry. We
Yeah.
just learn to laugh. I understand that he has a medical issue. He has it's a speech disorder, and I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just grateful that he's here.
Yes.
And then, so right before the car crash, he was about 90% back to pre-aneurysm. And then cognitive skills. And then when our car fell 25 feet off the highway, he hit his head, had a concussion, and immediately all that progress was gone.
Oh.
He couldn't read, write, or talk all over again.
Wow.
So it was really difficult for him because at least when I'm grieving, I was able to express myself. I just got a lump in my throat, but he couldn't even form the words anymore. And so not being able to communicate on top of grief was extremely difficult. My husband is such a vibrant, outgoing person. And I remember he used to sit in a room and not talk for days because he felt guilty.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't at fault. And I just read him to over and over again these letters every day and just let him know that the miracle was already in action. There's nothing you could have done differently that day to change the outcome.
Yeah.
And it took time. People say, oh, time heals. Time doesn't heal, because I know people who've been in misery for a long time.
Yes.
But it could take time to heal. Now, God can heal you instantaneously.
That's
but
a great
it could take time to heal.
distinction.
Exactly.
Time itself will not heal you.
Exactly.
But you can actively engage healing over time.
Exactly heal. You go through the process. You do the work. A lot of people try to work grief and work and suppress the grief. But you know what? You can't suppress it forever, because it will come out when you least expect it.
Yeah. It has a mind of its own, doesn't it?
And it don't care
you
about
are
your
not going to
schedule.
control it.
It does not care about your schedule.
Yes.
You cannot put this on your agenda like, oh, I'm gonna deal with grief this Tuesday between 2 and 4. It don't work that way. So it was difficult, but just hearing these testimonies over and over again, because God told me to share this testimony. So as my daughters and my husband were really grieving, they would hear me talking about these letters over and over and over again. And faith comes by hearing. And eventually I said, you know what, you guys, and my daughter, when this first happened, she wanted me to just join her pity party. She was angry at me for talking about how good God is when her heart was broken. Because like the first time I felt my heart is when it broke into a million little pieces.
Yeah.
But I got this clear vision of God showing me what my future would look like. And I just walked towards that vision every day. I spoke it into existence. You have to speak life over yourself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think grabbing hold of the both and instead of the either or. Right? I'm either miserable or I'm positive to the point of being unrealistic about the pain that I have, right? And it's a misunderstanding that we can only feel one feeling at a time. Like you say, oh, how do you feel about that move coming up? Oh, I'm happy, and I'm anxious, and I'm uncertain, and I'm confused.
All of the above.
Right. You can feel all of those feelings, and so we can be grateful for the goodness of God, and we can see the silver linings. Your husband and your daughter survived. That's a silver lining. They shouldn't have. You're telling me that was a complete miracle, even while we grieve deeply, Maurice and Roger.
Yes. Yes.
And those don't have to be in conflict with each other.
I sure you can either search for your miracles or your misery. The choice is yours. Whatever what you want wants you.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of that. And there was what helped me out a whole lot was there was a song that I used to listen to all day, every day, even when my eyes were too watery to read the Bible and I didn't want to talk to anybody. There's a song called Love Never Dies by Patti LaBelle. And I'm telling you, she can sing. And she stops in the middle of this song and she really chastises you. And I think when she sang this song, when she produced this song, she was grieving the death of one of her sisters.
Okay.
And in the middle, she says, get your face into place, get back in the race, and simply say.
Wow.
And then she hits that skyrocket, love never dies. And I'm telling you, their laughter will remain deep in this heart of mine.
Yeah.
To ease away the pain. And I'm telling you, you just listen to some inspirational music, some good, solid music to help. And it's not a hymn or anything, but it ministered to me. The song really ministered to me.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting how God brings out different things for each person that become kind of like an anchor point.
Yes.
And you just go to that one thing or a few things, and they're simple.
Right.
And just cling to them. I was so overwhelmed by the trauma that it was like, I felt like I lost 50 IQ points that week.
We call it grief brain.
Grief brain is real.
Grief brain is real.
It is real. I mean, it took
what
me from high functioning to special needs in an hour.
Yes, that's what they call it, grief brain. I was like, I didn't know what day it was. I mean, stuff that usually came simple. I had to write stuff down and keep notes every day to make sure I wouldn't forget stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot a lot of things.
Yeah. I even have gaps in like that time, that year, that 2 years. People will be like, well, this happened. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Or like somebody will say, Angela, I was at the service. I said, you was?
Yeah, I know. I've done that. They're like, oh, yeah, I was at the service. And then I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't notice or remember something.
It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because you can't even believe you're there.
Yeah.
So 3 years later, the social worker called and said, Angela, we have a little girl who needs a home. But by that time, we were no longer a long-term foster family. But she knew that when she called.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a little girl who needs a home. But we were respite care. We would take children on an emergency basis. And she said, and I said, well, how old is she? Is she old enough to go to school? Because by this time, I had accepted my assignment, started writing my autobiography, because God told me to start this ministry. And she said, she's 14 months. I said, you better.
She's not ready for school.
She is not ready. I said, 14 months, that's a baby in diapers. Because this time my daughter is 14 years old. I said, 14 months, that's a baby in diapers. No way. And I said, no. She said, please, I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, well, I don't know what you're going to do either. That's not my job, right? And she said, okay. Well, can she just come over for 2 or 3 days so I can find her long-term placement? I said, that's what I do, respite care. But make sure you pick her up Thursday at 12 because I have a very important 2 o'clock appointment. Okay, thank you. I'll bring Angela over tomorrow. What did you say? Oh, I did not tell you her name is Angela. I said, no, it's not. Now, Rachel, my name is Angela. My biological daughter name is Angela. I said, her name is not Angela. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I said, okay, you bring Angela over tomorrow. And then I go to my house. I said, Siri, there's a little girl coming over tomorrow. And guess what? Her name is Angela. Angela, you're going to have 3 Angelas now? My speech therapist is going to need therapy behind this one.
My goodness.
And so out of all the names in the world, her name is Angela. And out of 365 days out of the year, she was placed in our home on April Fool's Day, 2003, the 3rd anniversary of Maurice and Roger's passing. With those 2 major miracles, we started the adoption paperwork. We started the adoption paperwork the very next day. That very important meeting I had was with the social work adoption agency.
Oh, wow.
And I do believe God said, sorry, my son, you don't have to remember another name. We're going to ride this Angela train.
If you just say Angela, you'll be right. You can't get it wrong.
You can't, even when he's wrong, he's right. He said, we're going to ride this Angela train all the way home. I got your back, brother.
Oh, my goodness. So I'm looking at this paperwork from the foster agency with Angela's name and Angela's name. And that April 1st. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Isn't it crazy how the Lord speaks to us and brings things full circle, right?
Yes.
Like he's pulling the threads as he's weaving that tapestry through our lives.
Yes, because baby Angela was removed from her biological mother at 6 months old, and she had been in 3 other foster families before she came to us. Can you imagine being 2 years old? I mean, she wasn't even 2, like being 8 months old and just waking up in a whole another family. You don't know what happened to the people yesterday.
Right.
All the smells, all the sounds, where's the dog I was hugging? Everything is gone. That happened to her 3 times before she was 2. And so she's going through that, and at the same time, my husband had this hole in his heart that we couldn't fill. And God put them together. And so she had to have a name that he was used to.
Oh,
and it was
goodness.
so, and I think it was so right for God not to give us a little boy, because he would have been compared to Maurice and Roger all day, every day. And no one needs to, you cannot feel
to
those
live
shoes.
for that. Yeah.
And no one wants to live in their shadow. So she had her own platform, although we had to share the name.
Yeah.
So it was she was a great addition to our family. At a time when our hearts were hurting, she brought so much joy and love and that noise, that noise that could have had her feet in the house.
The little baby noises.
Yeah, so it was a great, restoration. God restored.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes.
And he just brought that baby onto your doorstep.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
That's
did.
so
And I had no labor and
incredible.
delivery.
What happened with your foster daughter who was in the accident?
Angelina, she stayed with us. What happened with her was a year after the car crash, her biological sister came to stay with us.
Okay.
And she had a lot of problems. She wasn't ready for a family. And because I used to be at school like 3 days a week because she would beat the boys up. So some stuff happened with her, and they decided that she needed to go into a group home.
Okay.
But at the same time, they said they were a package deal now. And so
Okay.
Angelina, because they wanted them to stay together. They had been separated for 5 years, and they wanted them to stay together.
Okay.
So it looked good on paper, but it really wasn't good for her.
Yeah.
And so sadly, Angelina had to leave us against her wishes and ours.
Oh.
But we're still in touch with
Are
her.
you?
Yes,
Okay.
we have the same phone number. We're still in touch. She calls me all the time. So Angelina and Angela, they're 31 and 32 now.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Angela, baby Angela at the time, she's 19 now. So taller than me, graduated from high school last year.
Congratulations.
College, freshman in college, online due to COVID.
Yeah, all of it. All of the COVID things.
Yes. But they're great.
So how many years? It was in 2000.
Right.
So it's been 21 years
Yes.
since this happened. Who is Angela now that she has grown through her grief? What has the Lord built into you through this suffering?
Abiding faith and trust that everything is already all right. No matter what your situation look like on the surface, no matter what I'm going through, it's already all right.
Yeah.
And that's how I see the world. You can't tell me any bad news because it's all good. And I'm just honored that God chose me to share this amazing testimony. And that what was so hard for me to accept in the very beginning, because it is such a big, amazing, over-the-top testimony. And who was I to do this?
Right.
And God said, you're my daughter. And as I said, as long as you give me the strength to do this, I surrender, I will. So I am just so excited to share this amazing testimony, different churches, retreat, conference, book clubs, women fellowships.
Absolutely.
Whoever have me, that no matter what you're going through, God is in control and miracles are in action.
You told me about reading the scripture, about choosing gratitude and checking your attitude in your heart.
Yeah.
Were there any really specific therapies or rituals or, as a trauma therapist, that specifically helped you uniquely in the trauma piece of healing through this that other people might be able to use?
When I didn't even know it at the time, when God told me just to write my autobiography, writing really helped me.
Yes.
Writing my autobiography, because I didn't realize that at that time, as you go back and chart your life, and I realized as I was writing my story, what I went through when I was 10 years old prepared me for what I went through when I was 20. What I went through at 20 prepared me for my 30s, 40s, 50s. And if I hadn't sat down and just looked at my life up high and looked down everything, I saw how God had actually ordered my steps. Prepare for this moment. I mean, because when somebody asked me, what will you do if something happened for your children? I said, I would go crazy. I wasn't looking at it through God's eyes. If I would have looked at it through God's eyes, how I was able to do as I was writing is very therapeutic.
Yes, I agree. Same for me.
And I suggest you to write your story, even if you don't publish it, just for yourself.
Yeah, journal it out.
Journal it out, And if you have unforgiveness, write a forgiveness letter. You don't have to show it to nobody. But forgiveness, it will lift that burden. You don't want to block your blessings by not forgiving somebody. So forgiveness is really, really crucial. It is essential.
Yeah. I say bitterness is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
And they don't even know what know
even know you're mad about them.
They don't even know. They're going on with their life.
Right?
Yes.
They're not suffering.
No.
We're suffering.
No. Yeah. But if it's a forgiveness to yourself, but it also help them as well if they know. And you can forgive from a distance. That doesn't mean you have to go out on lunch and spend time with this person.
Right.
And especially if it's not safe.
Exactly.
Safety first.
Yeah, I always say it's important to remember when we forgive that it doesn't mean that you're not still hurting.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that what the other person did wasn't wrong.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean that you have to allow them to continue to perpetuate that sin in your life. Forgiveness is releasing the debt of what was done and what they owe you because of what they did to you, and saying, I choose to allow the Lord to bring justice into my life instead of me hanging on to this until I fix it or get justice or vengeance or I feel better, right? It's a choice that we make for our own health and our own freedom.
Amen.
And that was one of the first things that I did about the man who murdered my husband. I was like, I am not going to be bound by bitterness to this man and what he stole from our family. And I actually said that in a press conference, and I said a lot of things at that press conference. It was long. And that thing was what the reporters came back to and were like, how in the world could you forgive him?
Right.
And it's something the world doesn't understand, right? They don't understand the forgiveness that Jesus enables us to give to the people who hurt us.
Right.
Because he came to set the captives free, and it's his love that enables us to release those debts.
Jesus said, forgive them, for they not know what they do.
Yeah, Jesus forgave the people who were murdering him on the cross while he was on the cross.
Exactly. He forgave.
Yeah, I think too, it makes me think I was really wrestling with God in one of those seasons. And the Lord said to me, Rachel, there's nothing that you're experiencing that I haven't gone through. He said, my son was killed too.
Whew. Yes, he was.
And I just sat with that the Lord has experienced the death of his beloved.
And that's why I say, as hard as it is for me to live here without my sons, Maurice and Roger, it will be impossible for me to live here without God's son, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
Yes.
You guys, this testimony today, you need to get in contact with these resources. Tell us again where to find them, Angela.
At miraclesinaction.com, miraclesinaction, miraclesinaction.com.
And she's got this beautiful children's book that she showed me with wonderful illustrations that would be great for helping kids to understand grief and loss in a really beautiful way. She's got her autobiography, and then she's also got a documentary there, and those are just, it's an amazing story. It tells itself.
Yes.
It carries the power of the Lord without you having to try,
Right.
And you have allowed him to increase as you have decreased in the story, right? Like you have magnified him.
It's all about Jesus.
Yeah, and it just, your face is radiant, Angela. It just shines, and you have such a beautiful smile, and I appreciate you letting me sit here and hear it and witness this with you. And I feel just honored to sit in this space and hold space for this story, and for the people on the Hopecast and around the world
Yes.
who are going to hear it and are going to experience healing and transformation because of your obedience.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure and assignment.
Absolutely. Everybody, thank you for tuning in on this episode of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. You can find me at rachelflick.com. If you would rate, review, and subscribe to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick on Apple Podcasts, that would be amazing, and it helps us get the word of hope and healing out to other people who really need it. Everybody, thank you so much for being with us here today, and catch us on next week's episode of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick.
You've been listening to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. To find out more, go to rachelflick.com. While you're there, you can book Rachael for your next speaking engagement. Her inspiring message will be sure to engage and touch the heart of your audience at your next conference, church event, or business function. Go to rachelflick.com to book her today. While you're online, you can discover more information about all of the platforms that this podcast is on. Also, be sure to click on the social media icons at the top of the page, and you will be directed to Rachael's social media sites. If you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, we would appreciate if you would subscribe and leave us a review. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time for another edition of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick.